Okay, hello everybody. Sarah Budd here. We're going to have an interview today with Carol Merwin. Carol Merwin is a dating and relationship coach. She enjoys working with women who have introverted personalities. She helps them leverage their strengths to create successful relationships. She's built herself a fantastic life while being true to herself. That's the key. A woman with a quiet, introverted personality. And her passion is helping other women go for their dreams. Hello, Carol.
Hi, Sarah. Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm
Good.
really looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. I am so excited to just jump right in. I want to ask you the way I ask everybody. Tell me your story. How did you get where you are today? How did you become a relationship coach for introverts?
Well, after a stint with a couple other careers, I decided I wanted to go into coaching. And, I was thinking about who would I most like to spend my time with? Who would I most like to help and support? Who would I most like to serve? And what came forward for me as I was starting my business were all the challenges in putting myself out there with my very kind of quiet and introverted personality. And I was like, boom, that's it. That is a population I can really serve. I know that journey so intimately, and different issues that can come up in the dating world and the dating life. So I happen to have dated for 2.5 decades before I finally met my life partner. And it was really a journey, a great journey. But I was really happy to enter into that relationship and start that new journey with him. I was ready to be done with dating.
Aren't we all? Yes. So how did you choose coaching introverts with dating? How did you choose to marry those two together?
I just thought that would be an area where I could really dive deeply with people, having worked with that element of my personality in every dream I've ever achieved. So I had to work with that element in my personality and really stepping forward professionally. I had to really work with that element and really, and learning a lot about myself in order to create the kind of partnership and relationship that I really deeply wanted to have. And in becoming a parent, I became a parent through adoption. And so again, I had to sort of work with the strengths that I had as an introvert and kind of overcome that element in me that wants to stay quiet and behind the scenes. I mean, in the kind of adoption that I did, you really, must put yourself out there and become really seen and really known in order to connect with a birth parent. So in every dream, it's been a piece of what I've worked with. And in my case, I know I was born and I had that personality predisposition to be very quiet and sensitive, and kind of like being in my own head a lot. But that was exacerbated by a childhood. It just so happens my dad was a sergeant in the Marines right before he became a parent. And so, he had this parenting style of like we were more his subordinates than his beloved children. And there was some element in that mix of my temperament and his style that made me want to be even more invisible. And so then now that's been something I've worked with on an emotional level, spiritual level, all my life, basically to show up and be seen and really go for my dreams and claim my dreams.
So it sounds like there was a kind of a moment where you had a realization and you decided to own it. Is that fair to say?
There was a I had this experience. I was in the corporate world and I was advancing. I started out in a classic job for an introvert. I was doing computer programming, and then as I advanced in my career, I needed to be doing less on the technical side and more on the side of dealing with people, and I needed to really build those skills. And as part of that, somehow I got sent to this workshop, and where we did the personality type testing, the traditional Myers-Briggs,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a real eye-opener for me because it came out that I was introverted. That's only one element on that personality scale, but it turns out the personality type that I am is only 2% of the population. And so in this workshop, in this class, it's like, oh, if you have this personality type, you probably feel different from most people. And there was a little shift inside me in being acknowledged for that, because
Mm-hmm.
here I had gone through a lot of life feeling different and doing things differently and not taking real traditional path, real traditional roles. And so it's like, oh, okay, I get it. This is just part of who I am. And then in knowing that awareness was just so helpful. It
Hmm.
just it just created the shift inside of me of like, okay, I get it. I do operate differently, and I'm going to figure out how to use those differences as strengths and really leverage to create my success.
I love it. I love it. We're going a little off script here, but tell me if it's all right. Is there a time that you, or an instance that you can remember of how you have leveraged that, how you have decided this is who I am, I'm going to shift the way I operate so that this works for me?
Um, well, I feel like it always works for me as a strength in that I can dive deeply into things that I'm passionate about. I can just study and research and learn about endlessly, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is a strength. However, there can be that introvert tendency to keep it all in your head, and so for me, it's like getting out of my head and into action.
Okay.
And so to leverage all those ideas and all those creative ideas and creative impulses, to leverage that, sometimes I have to have some type of accountability that helps me stay accountable for not just thinking about doing something and not just having all these incredible ideas for what I could do, but for actually taking that action. And of
Yeah.
course, becoming an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to take a lot of action all the time.
Right. That's what I was just wondering about. How do you find starting a business fits in with your how you see yourself personality wise?
um, it's different. I mean, I see a lot of successful coaches who come come from a very extroverted world, and so they have this enormous comfort level with putting themselves out there.
Right.
And as an introvert, I you know it's hard for me to even explain like how uncomfortable even this kind of a conversation. I'm totally comfortable speaking with you, and I'm just thinking of it as a one-on-one
Right.
conversation.
Right.
But the idea of of putting myself out there in a really public way is a little bit unnerving, and at times like, terrifying, like paralyzing, terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I work with that is I just hold my dream out front and center, and basically I just keep moving toward that dream in whatever size of step I can take in the moment. Um, and I don't, there's something about having the dream and having the why and the commitment to doing it that just pulls me forward. It just pulls me forward out of that sort of staying in my head and staying quiet and staying in the background. So I will definitely say it's had its elements of challenge, but again, it's just an opportunity for growth and an opportunity to get to know myself better, and really an opportunity to be kind to myself, because sometimes when you get stuck and you don't take action, for me, in the past, I've gotten into this kind of trying to beat myself up and bully myself to get into action. And now I've completely changed that strategy to saying, what is the most empowering question I can ask myself? What is an empowering question I can ask myself that will connect me to my why and get me to take that next step? And the other thing I'm asking myself that is really helping me is, what is the kindest, most compassionate thing I can say to myself right now? And so instead of trying to kind of beat myself up to get out there and be seen, I'm just trying to do it in a really self-compassionate way. And I hope that's a level of compassion I want to bring to the coaching client too.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect, because that's exactly where I was going to go next. I'm looking over at my notes that I was writing down while you were talking here. With what are some things, some tips that you've learned that you need to be able to thrive? And it sounds like keeping your vision in mind, and being able to ask, what is that next empowering, or what is the most empowering thing I can do right now? Kind of what is the next right thing I can do, the next best right thing I can do? Those are awesome strategies. I love those. That is great.
Thanks. It's, that's just life, right? It's just leveraging what works,
Yep.
letting go of what works. Like I said, I tried to do things in a very different way in the past, and I just found I'm really enjoying being loving and compassionate toward myself a lot more.
Right, surprise! That's way more fun than beating yourself up. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so I want to end. Thank you so much for your time. I want to end with a question I always ask. I love a good quote. They both motivate me and inspire me. Is there any quote that has been stuck in your mind this week or this month or lately? What's on your mind lately?
Well, I totally love that Brene Brown quote. You either stand inside your story or you hustle for your worthiness.
Mm.
And I do felt like I spent a lot of the early years in my life sometimes trying to be somebody that I wasn't in order to fit in, or to be somebody that I wasn't in order to connect and have the relationship that I wanted, which never worked, because then I ended up being in a relationship pretending to be somebody I wasn't. So
Right.
that never worked. So so that quote really resonates for me. It's like, now I'm just, I just stand inside my story. This is who I am. I love who I am. There's so many great qualities to who I am. And I don't have to hustle. I don't have to work to be worthy. I just want to show up as my most true and authentic self. And that leads me to another quote that, and this quote was on a piece of artwork that's hanging in a friend's house. And so I don't know who said it, but I love this. I'm looking at it. I actually took a picture of her piece of art. Have only one rule: be your wild, courageous, brilliant self every single day, no matter what.
Nice. Nice.
And it is, for somebody on the entrepreneurial journey, on the relationship journey, on the parenting journey, it's like showing up and being courageous. It's big. So it's be your brilliant, courageous self.
I love it.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
her artwork inspired me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did it inspire you to make your own artwork or just to keep that in your mind?
I love the artistic pursuit. I have done, I mean, this across the board, I mean, dozens of different kinds of creative pursuit. And for me, I think that's one of the strengths of being an introvert is you have that level of creativity and you can, really dive deeply into creating. So I love that about my life. And I'm even kind of exploring art as my spiritual practice now, as a way to connect with that higher, bigger source energy. So I think I've always used artwork in that way, but now I'm kind of more consciously creating artwork in that way. So
Nice.
yeah, it's been fun.
Awesome.
Part of the journey.
That's awesome. I should ask, I was about to wrap up and then I thought I should ask if there's anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to throw out there about maybe something that you're learning or something that you're about to present to clients or just anything that's burning at you.
Well, I know in your coaching, a big piece for you is to really help people thrive and really help people go for their dreams. And, that is an element that I like to share as well. I really always like to tell people, don't give up on your dream. If you have a dream and that dream is calling you, there is a reason. There is a reason that dream is calling. There's something inside of you that's meant to step forward into that. And I know I certainly hit a lot of low points in my 2.5 decades of dating, which included one divorce. So there were a lot of times when I just wanted a different dream than relationship because it was just so, so painful and such a struggle. And now I look back on it and it's like, thankfully I stayed on the journey and thankfully I stayed true to my dream because I have this amazing relationship and this wonderful partner. So I just want to share with people, don't give up on your dream.
Right. Isn't that the truth of it? That anything that you really want, that is really valuable, worth having, is going to be hard. Like it's never easy.
Well, there's just learning. I mean, there's just personal growth, personal evolution, and personal learning. I mean, currently in my life right now, I'm always praying that all my lessons come with grace and ease and joy and delight. Does every lesson have to be a really, agonizing, painful struggle? Maybe not. I mean, so at least ask for that. But yes, with evolution and change and kind of stepping into being more, I mean, it does seem that there is often some element of struggle to kind of bust through to the next level. And you accomplish at this level and you think, oh, I really got this. When I entered into the relationship with my husband, and after it took me at least 5, probably more like 10 years to really settle down and realize, we are really going to stay together. And then once I did, it's like, oh, am I just coasting from here on out? But no, parenting challenges, workplace challenges. There's still so many opportunities to grow.
Right.
There's no coasting in to the end, right?
Dang it. Right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for this fun conversation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Okay.
What's your web address that people can find you at?
It is carolmerwin.com. So it's CarolMerwin.
Perfect. Perfect. Wonderful. All right. We'll sign off with that.
Okay, great. Thanks,
Thanks.
Sarah.